Deputy Editor of Fraser Myers. A very good afternoon, sir. How are you?
Good afternoon. Great to be here.
Oh, my God, Fraser, this country. And actually, to be perfectly honest, it grows on a daily basis. People's frustration, people's anger, people's just abject disbelief with what's going on. I'm not even going to talk about the Tory leadership because I don't think anybody gives a damn. Let's talk about how a country, right, allows this to happen today. A legal loophole in that ECHR allowed an Albanian criminal called Arjit Binaj. Basically, he was found guilty of an awful crime, a burglary. He was sentenced to 2.5 years, but he was allowed out after 6 months, ladies and gentlemen, because little Rishi did a deal with the big man from Albania, and we had an agreement. OK, so that was good. But what he did was, Fraser, and I'd love your taking, he sneaked back into the UK. How, I would ask. He then had a baby with a Lithuanian lady, married her, and has now successfully, lodged a claim that an attempt to deport him again would be against his rights as a family life man under Article 8 of the ECHR. And I've got people like Andy Williams saying to me, it's about humanitarian moral responsibility and how we look. What about how it looks to the British people, Fraser?
Well, there's absolutely no way that the British people would vote for a political party that put in their manifesto that we should give criminals these kinds of rights, that we should essentially, allow a criminal a right to a family life on the basis that he snuck in and has had a baby with another foreign person. It just, the mind boggles as to how this is possible. And a lot of liberal defenders of the European Convention of Human Rights, they'll say, oh, well, it was set up by Churchill after the Second World War, after the horrors of fascism, after
78 years ago. It's not fit for purpose.
Exactly. I mean, if you'd have told Winston Churchill back then that a court was there that was set up to fight against fascism, atone for the wrongs, that it was wrong not to allow Jewish people escaping concentration camps into the country. That was a terrible, terrible mistake that humanity has made. But I'm sorry, there is a world of difference between that and someone who has, committed a crime in this country, come in here illegally again, and is being able to essentially abuse the system, for his own gain. That is not what this court was set up to do. It's changed beyond all recognition. I think it's high time we had a referendum on this issue. I think if we did have a referendum, the public would absolutely vote to leave it, because there is no sane justification for some of the decisions it's making.
And that's my point. I was talking about this Labour Party. Today we had another appalling. I mean, honestly, you'll agree at Spike. This is like sort of going into a sweet shop. Every day I get up and I read the newspapers or I come into work, and there's just another example of how these incompetent idiots have got it wrong again. Tories sort of saying today, Starmer, come on, we need to know, where'd you get the money from? What have you done with Lord Ali's money? Whilst at the same time, a lobbyist, I don't know if you know him, Liam Didsbury, was sending out invites to businesses ahead of the conference, the party conference, and Labour donors were offered the chance to mingle with the PM or Orange, but only if they sponsored official drinks parties with packages ranging from 30 grand to 50 grand. Now, Mr Didsbury hasn't commented, but Labour this afternoon said they're not aware of this email. It's not right at all. What a load of old tosh. Cash for access. I just want to take us back. We just do it every day, but it's going to take us back. There'll be no psychodrama. All this sleaze and the Tory scum and noses in the trough and cronyism and jobs for the boys. I would respectfully suggest, Fraser, that in the last 13 weeks, this lot have shown themselves to almost be even worse. I mean, it's contemptible that you win something saying, I find that behaviour deplorable, and then behave in an even worse way yourself.
Well, again, it boggles the mind because, Keir Starmer made such a point about himself and the Labour Party being so much more moral than the Conservatives, being above all this grubbiness. And yet, as you say, they're doing exactly the same thing, perhaps even on a worse scale, because we don't know the extent of it. Every day new things come out.
Honestly, where does it end? I mean, yesterday Sue Gray, before that free shoes, before a suit. Honestly, it's just, I don't know, and Spiked will probably know this better than me, but is it incompetence? Is it they don't care? Is it because they're early in their tenure and they think that people will forget? Because I tell you categorically, pensioners will never forget. They will be talking about this as people talk about poll tax, bringing down Thatcher. They will talk about this, trust me, in 10, 15, 20 years, don't you think?
I think there's a couple of things going on. I think one is that generally Keir Starmer doesn't really believe in anything, doesn't really stand for anything. And that means that they don't really have a sort of core purpose for being in government. You know, I suppose he'd quite like to be Prime Minister. That seems to be the only reason he's in office. The other thing is, I think, you know, they are incredibly smug. I think they actually bought their own PR about them being the moral party, the nice party, as opposed to the Tories being the nasty party.
So I spoke to a Labourite the other day away from the office, and I said, explain to me what is different, right, between everything you accuse the Tories, quite rightly of, by the way, not sticking up for the Tories, deplorable at the end, and everything that you're doing now. She couldn't answer. I have a theory, because I don't believe they're a working class party at all. I think they're champagne socialists in the truest sense of the word. I think they're based in London. I don't think they in any way care. They might purport to care, but I don't think they actually genuinely, by their behaviour, show that they understand or care about the average working man and woman. But they seem to have this, I think your word's great, smug moral belief that they're better than those dirty Tory, scummy, rich, whatever. And it's all right for Keir Starmer, who's got a big pension, a great salary, and can take free. Can you imagine? I mean, Boris got absolutely lambasted over, I don't know, some wallpaper. Starmer's a millionaire, a £400,000 a year pension, 250 grand with his wife as a joint salary. He lives rent-free. He's got £1 million house he'll probably rent out, and he needs a bloke to buy him suits. What does that send to the man or woman on the way home right now up north, who's done a 12-hour day and might just break bloody even? That's not working class values at all, not in a million years.
No, and, you know, Starmer is a man whose pension is so large that it actually required its own Act of Parliament to increase it. I don't know if people know this. You can look up on legislation.gov.uk and you can find the Keir Starmer Pensions Act 2012. It's absolutely unbelievable, or changed the regulation. I think, you know, apparently he has 50 shirts. 50 shirts from Lord Ali. So he's not only, you know...
He's a millionaire. Why does he need some donor to buy him shirts? What's going on? How? And this is my point. You're the deputy editor of Spike. This is what I don't get. And I think they're beginning to think I'm going to implode. Did nobody just go, mate, listen to me, right? Listen, right? You know you're a millionaire? You know, you represent working class people who are in the middle of a cost of living crisis. Their energy bills are going through the roof. You're pontificating and probably having avocado on sour bread toast for breakfast with a free-range organic egg. But here's the issue. If you take these, you're going to look like a bit of an idiot. No, nothing. No, absolutely nothing, Fraser. Don't get it.
Well, first of all, I don't think the Labour Party has represented the working class or even tried to, aspired to represent the working class for at least, 30 or 40 years. Certainly, if you look at the voting patterns, there's no evidence that working class people are more likely to vote Labour anymore. The last election, there's no big working class vote for Labour, big working class support for Labour whatsoever. But also, I mean, it's interesting to think that who used to be the head of ethics in the civil service not that long ago? It was Sue Gray.
Oh, God.
I think that she would be precisely the kind of person that would take Keir Starmer to one side and say, hang on, this looks a little bit dodgy. This looks a little bit unethical, but apparently not. One of the things that she had the most experience in, that role of, deciding what is ethical or not, she wasn't able to bring that.
I firmly believe, and I said it earlier, whether she's taken the rap or is appalling, I've absolutely no idea. But to me, it was blatantly obvious that what he did showed how bad he is at politics. I think he was trying to score political points over the Tories. This was a woman who was loyal to Boris and then brought him down and has then moved over from the civil service to having meetings behind... it should never have been allowed to happen. And it's come back and bitten him on the backside. But the truth of the matter is surely that for all the people... I mean, we had Andy Williams here going, it's a reset. If you need to reset after 100 days, I would respectfully suggest that most people with a brain cell would go, why'd you make such appalling bloody decisions in the first place?
Not even 100 days, in fact.
93.
Saturday is going to be the 100th day. And, let's remember, what are the things that Keir Starmer pitched to the public. He didn't have any big ideas. He didn't have any transformational project, but he did say that one, that they would be more moral, that they wouldn't get into these kind of cronyism, and the other one is that they'd be competent, that they wouldn't, that they wouldn't be able to manage things efficiently. And Sue Gray was seen as integral to that, as someone who could plug the Labour Party into the civil service, and there would be a smooth government machine. On both of those counts, they've failed spectacularly. And what else do they have to offer the public? Nothing, I'm afraid. No big ideas, no vision for the country, nothing for us to get.
Can you see him falling? I say this every day. I can see him being ousted, mate. I really can. Those MPs will start getting emails in their boxes from pensioners and other people once that budget hits in 3 weeks. Are they going to cancel prescriptions for people over the age of 60? That'll be the next thing. There's going to be fuel duty to millions of people that drive cars. Council tax is going to go up. Death duties, inheritance tax, because it's a socialist thing, ladies and gentlemen. You can promise that you're going to give all your mates a pay rise and improve everything, but there's only one way of doing it. They used to print money. Inflation was at 30%. Now all they do, anybody who's successful in any field, even if you built a business and employed people, sod you, you're going to pay more tax. It's a simple thing. That's what socialism is.
I think Keir Starmer's definitely on borrowed time. I mean, you look at his personal popularity ratings are through the floor, less popular than Rishi Sunak, and we saw how badly...
How bad that... And by the way, can we just say, that's right now, ladies and gentlemen. So Keir Starmer right now is less popular than Rishi Sunak right now. That's bad.
Yeah, and I think it can go lower because, as you say, we've still got the budget to come. Rachel Reeves has warned us how bad things are going to get, how dark things are going to be, how much financial pressure people are going to come under as a result of that. I think we haven't seen nothing yet. And you think, well, what is what's the positive vision? What is the gain that we get from going through this pain? What are we making these sacrifices for? And I think the Labour Party don't have those answers. They haven't persuaded us that there is, a sunlit uplands that follows this this brief period of sacrifice. I don't see what we're going to get out of it. I can't see Keir Starmer turning it around at all. The question is, though, I mean, a lot of those MPs, they probably have a certain loyalty to him, I would imagine.
I thought that when Boris Johnson had an 82-seat majority and on the red wall, that crumbled pretty bloody quickly when they realised that their own careers were in danger. Listen, I got to move on. Fraser, we love everybody at Spike. Thank you for coming on. Deputy Leader of Spike, Fraser Myers.